Hello. Okay, so I need to get this. Um, we're going to mute this. I'm going to share. Hello. How are y'all? Give me 1 second. The group. Got to do a little bit of sharing so people know I'm here. Log in. All done. One more. All right. And I'm done with that. How are y'all? Hello, everybody. So today's Monday's Musing. We are preparing for Hurricane Florence. And as I prepare for Hurricane Florence, can you hear me okay? Can everybody hear me okay? So we have done some preparations. We are getting our yard. David's out. Good. David's out cleaning up our yard right now. I just finished making the list of the rest of the things that we need. I have my bullet journal and I have a list. One list is on the kitchen counter. I talked to my mom. David's supposed to be calling his mom. I'm going to call my daughter later because she's at work right now. So, but preparing because Hurricane Florence is already now a category 4. According to what my mom said, the news at noon said. So as of, I guess, about an hour or two ago. That wasn't what I was going to be talking about today. But as I thought about it, I was like, sometimes when things like this happen, floods, fires, hurricanes, things like that, we end up with no power. We end up with things happening and without electricity, without all the technology that we have. Hurricane Florence is right now. They're looking at South Carolina, North Carolina, Wilmington, give or take. Hello. So if the hurricane hits, we are. They're looking from Wilmington to Myrtle Beach, or at least that's what the news said a little while ago. We don't live very far from Myrtle Beach. Thank you. We've been through this before. A couple years ago, we went through this with Matthew. But a category 4 is the same category that Hugo was like right at almost 30 years ago. And if it hits hard like that, it will go further than just the coast. And our area did get hit pretty hard when Hugo hit, and it did get hit pretty hard when Matthew came. The flooding and the tornadoes are the worst part about it. So if we end up losing power, which is probably going to happen if we get bad storms, my in-laws live within walking distance to us as long as the little bridge doesn't collapse that's between here and there. We could actually walk to their house if we had to. But they have a generator and stuff. So I may be offline if the hurricane actually hits. So as soon as I can, as soon as we do have, if it does look like it's going, I will on Twitter, on Facebook, in my Facebook group and stuff, I will let people know, hey. And then as soon as I can check in after, I will let people know. But we live in a little brick house. My in-laws live in a brick house. Unfortunately, because we do live out, we do have a lot of trees, and that's not a good, necessarily a good thing. It's a great thing in the summer when you got shade, not a good thing when there's storms and lightning and tornadoes. But I have lots of books, and I have lots of journals, and I have lots of things that I can do that do not require technology. So I won't be bored. Um, I don't actually have to watch TV, to keep entertained. So that's a good thing. So I was thinking, well, not that I'm hoping it will happen so I can have a vacation from technology. That's not the case at all. But if I do happen to have a vacation from technology, I was thinking, okay, if I have to leave my home, and I have to go like to my in-laws or somewhere else, God forbid, um, what would I want to take? If I have to leave my house, and I'm worried about something happening, what would I take with me? I mean, I'd want to take some things to keep safe, I have a picture of my mom when she was like 18 or 19. I have a picture of my daddy. I have a picture of my mom and my dad, my stepdad. I have some pictures of my kids when they were little. I'd want to take some of those things. I have a few like very sentimental things I'd want to take. And then I'm thinking, I'd want to take a couple of my books. And then I'm like, that would be so hard to decide what books would I want to take. I want to take the book I'm currently reading. And I just finished on Kindle the Sarah Cannon. She's on YouTube. I just finished her Demon something series. I can't think of what it was called, but it was actually really good. She's a YouTuber. She does writing and some planning videos, but and she lives in South Carolina. She lives near where I grew up, so it was really cool reading books from somebody who is actually within my vicinity, so to speak. She's about 2 hours from me though, but I thought that was really cool. But I'm thinking, what would I want to take? I'd want to take my sketchbook and my watercolors. I'd want to take one of my art how-to books. I'd want to take at least one or two fiction books. And I think I'd want to take one of my writing books. And then I thought, I as much as I love my Stephen King books, I don't unfortunately have any that I haven't read right now. And I do have a couple of first editions. I'm like, I don't know. I don't, it's such a trippy thing to think ahead of things like that. We have forest fires here and realizing I can only bring a few things with me. Interesting thought process. Yeah. And I'm thinking, what would I really want to bring? I have C.S. Lewis's collection, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, that I've had since I was a little kid. I've had this one Snoopy book. It was A Dark and Stormy Night since I was a little kid. My daddy bought me that. You know, I don't know. I've got my very first camera. It was an instant one. I've got my dad's camera that's a 35 millimeter. It was a really expensive camera. It's not worth a whole lot now, but it was worth a whole lot back then. And I'm like, what, I want to bring my camera. I'm like, what? But I don't have room. I've got 2 bags pretty much that I could take other than my bag of clothes. What would I really want to take? I could fill my trunk up with stuff that was important. But it got me to thinking, because this is going to be a big one. If it hits us, it's going to be a big one. And when right now we've had all these forest fires, we've had floods. In 2015, we were flooded out here. I mean, really flooded. The dams burst in South Carolina. A lot of them weren't working and a lot of them burst, and we had some really bad flooding. And I'm thinking, well, what would I really truly, you do these little prompt things for Facebook or for your journals, and you think about it when you're doing that, but you don't really think about it until something happens. And then you're faced with, oh my God, what would I want to bring? And as a really creative person, there are a lot of things. Hello, there are a lot of things that I could live without. Thank you. I think we'll be okay. That doesn't mean that we're not going to get damage if it does hit hard out here. But there are, like I said, we live in a little brick house. Which, I mean, if the tornadoes are bad enough, the tornado could pick up our little brick house, you know. My in-laws live in a brick house. So I'm worried about, my daughter doesn't. My daughter just bought a brand new like mobile home, a big double wide, but it's not bricked in yet. You know, so she would either come here or they would go over on the other side where she's got family, and they have a brick house. So she has one or two places to go. As long as Victor's in one of the two places, I'm okay because I know he'll be safe. You know, Mr. Rockstar is supposed to be working, and the night that it's supposed to hit, or that early that he'll be working. And he's like, there's no way I'm coming home. I'm going to be working that night because even before the hurricane hits, the storms are going to be bad. So we're trying to get prepared. We're going to go do some stuff. I am going to be taking pictures. I may or may not be able to put them online because if we have storms bad enough, we won't have power. And without power, we have no internet. My phone won't work very well out here, and it does have data, but I can't always get it to work. It is a very soul searching thing to think about. And I'm thinking, you know, I'd want to bring, I can't bring all my journals. What would I, you know, what would what would I bring? You know, I can't bring all my art supplies. It breaks it down to the bare minimum of what you think is really important. As I started to think about this, you know, I'm pulling things out and I'm looking, and I had just set up my to-go bag. So I kind of have an idea of some of the things, you know, but there are other things. I've got all these little sentimental things in this room and throughout my house. I've got china that was passed down in my daddy's family. It was my grandmother's. They gave my grandparents gave it to my mom, my real daddy's parents gave it to my mom, their daughter-in-law, and then my mom gave it to me. So you know, you're getting signed up for special needs shelter in Florida. Yeah. Um, y'all are in the path too. Hopefully Florida won't get much more than little storms. If it hits our coast, I live in the Midlands of South Carolina. I live 45 minutes from Myrtle Beach. I live an hour from Charleston, an hour and a half to 2 hours from the beach, depending on which beach. But I also only live about an hour and 45 minutes from Edisto. So we're like, all the coast is right here, and we're right here. We're at the tip of the triangle. The coast is like this, and we're sitting right here. So I'm like only 45 minutes to an hour and a half, 2 hours away from the coast, which is where I grew up. And a lot of my family still lives near the coast. I've got family that lives on Folly Beach. I've got family that lives on Daniels Island. I've got family that lives at Edisto, near Edisto. I've got one of my cousins lives in Hilton Head, you know. But my mom was saying it's looking more towards going, you know, live really near part of Tampa Bay. Oh, I bet it's pretty out there. But it's looking like it's going to hit from Myrtle Beach up towards Wilmington, Carolina Beach, out that way, like the top of South Carolina on the coast, not up north, but the top of South Carolina to that part of North Carolina. And North Carolina doesn't too often, that part of the coast doesn't too often get the hurricanes. Normally it's Florida, Louisiana, you know, that part of stuff gets usually that they get the hurricanes the most. I know it's Florida and Louisiana, and then there's one other state, they get more hurricanes. We get a lot of them though, because we kind of, where we're at, it's like this side of Florida, the Panhandle, are the part that comes this way, that one part of the boot, and then the other part of the boot, sometimes they get him. The East Coast, yes. So we're talking the Gulf and Texas, Louisiana, and Florida on that side. They get him. And then on the other side, on the East Coast, I was thinking about how the boot of Florida is kind of shaped. Georgia gets him every now and again, but Georgia's kind of tucked in. So the parts of the coast that kind of go out, but I've been through quite a few hurricanes, having grown up on South Carolina on the East Coast. And I know what it can be like when you have to leave and you have to have a shelter, and then you come back and sometimes you have stuff and there's just some damage, and then sometimes you don't have anything, and you never know what you're going to come back to if you have to leave. I'm hoping we won't have to leave. We have a propane grill and a charcoal grill, big ones. Unfortunately, our stove and all that's electric, but having the grill, we've got a couple of coolers. We lived in Louisiana. Ooh, yeah. Hurricane parties. Yeah. I have a cousin who was out surfing right before Hugo at Folly Beach. I mean, because the waves were big. So I've been thinking about this, what would I really want to take? What could I take? Because there are some things I'm not going to take because, we're not going to really have internet. And I mean, I'm going to throw my laptop in there so that I do have it in case. And then I'm thinking, well, I'm looking around my room that I'm finally starting to get sort of set up the way that I really want once we can get that closet stuff done. And we just got a new TV for our bedroom. And I'm like, we're going to have to unplug everything. And I was asking David if he thought we ought to board up our windows. If we lived actually on the coast, we would be boarding up our windows. But where we live, there's a lot of trees. And I'm thinking we might be safer if we boarded our windows. That way, if something does hit the house, it won't be breaking the windows and stuff won't be coming in the house. But then we can't afford to go out and buy a lot of those supplies. It always seems to hit when you don't have the money. And I'm like, well, I don't know. I'm hoping we won't have to leave. But it's made me do some really big thinking since yesterday. Saturday, I was kind of like, well, we've had warnings and stuff like that before. Yesterday, it started getting more serious. And then this morning, it's a whole lot more serious. The threat is much more serious. They're actually evacuating Hatteras, Cape Hatteras in North Carolina, in the local high school. There you go. You don't ever know what you're going to come back to, which is why I have been thinking about what I would pack if we do have to leave. I am hoping we will not have to leave. We waited out Matthew here. My parents came here. We waited out Matthew here. And I'm like, well, we don't have a generator, but like I said, my in-laws have one. We need to get a generator. We're going to end up getting a generator if we keep having to go through this. But we don't live actually on the coast. Like I said, we live about an hour, but it doesn't really matter because some of the parts that are the worst part of the hurricane are the outer lying storms and tornadoes and stuff like that. But we have all of this stuff that happens sometimes, natural things like the fires or things that aren't, they're not always natural. But it makes you think. And I know I won't be bored if we end up with no power. I'll read books, I'll draw, I'll journal, But it also got me to thinking about how dependent we are on technology. I don't have a weather radio anymore. We used to. We don't have an AM FM radio, one of those weather radios. And I'm thinking, well, I do have an alarm clock that has an AM FM radio still, believe it or not. It's not plugged in, but I do have one, and we could use that. But I'm like, well, out of all my art supplies, when I sat down and I really thought about what would I bring, I would take my typewriter and put it back in the case, and I would put it in the trunk of the car. I would take my knapsack and fill it with some of my stuff so I won't be bored. And then I have a duffel bag that I'll fill with some of my sentimental things that I wouldn't want anything to happen to, pictures and things like that. And then, but it really made me stop and think about what, what I take. I'm going to take a bunch of my paper and my typewriter, so maybe I'll get a novel written. I don't know. But it's just something to think about. I have a feeling, though, that I'll be getting a lot of reading and art done, and a lot of writing done if we do end up without power, because when Hugo hit, we had no power for like 3 weeks. So hopefully that won't be the case. And I'm because I'm on YouTube and Patreon and all the stuff, and I would hate to not be able to, do the stuff. I'll be doing a lot of filming, I reckon, if I have a way to charge my batteries. That's something I need to do, is plug in all the batteries so they can all charge. But yeah, it's just something to think about, y'all. But we're okay right now. Like I said, we're about to go get the rest of some things, that last minute things. We want to get some extra water and some extra charcoal, exchange the propane tank, and do some of that kind of stuff. And hopefully some of that stuff will still be available. And another loaf of bread. And probably another, maybe get a styrofoam cooler. So that's about what's going on here. Yeah, this wasn't the coffee chat I had planned for today. So does anybody have, so we're going to change the topic now, and that way we can get off of here, off of that topic. Does anybody have any questions? I have been thinking about making another list. If y'all have any suggestions for coffee chats, if there's anything that you would like for me to do a coffee chat on, I'm going to start doing, and I'd also like to do a Q&A video. I'm going to send a tweet out after all of this is over for a Q&A video, so that I can get some, hopefully get some questions. I can do a Q&A. It's been a long while since I've done one. And I also think I am going to do a writing series. If we don't get, you want to, okay, I'm not sure, but I want to do a writing series. I want to do more writing videos. I'm going to set up, and I'm going to do an introduction video. Hopefully I can get it out Wednesday. Thank you. David and I were in here, and I've talked to several other people, and I really do think that once I get that stuff out of the closet and we get the shelves in there, it will really open this up. And we're going to see about if there's a different way to kind of reorganize this one little corner over here. And that might make it easier too. We might build a shelf to put my tower on, so that, and move that bookcase a little, so that things aren't kind of, we can build a shelf or something, a little corner shelf for the tower to actually sit on. That might be a good idea. But anyway, I really like the idea of doing a Q&A, and I want to do a writing series on how I use tarot and oracle cards and archetype cards. Hello, how I use those things with my writing to plot and to do character sketches and things like that with the writing. And I know I've had a lot of people ask me questions about that. So I thought that might be, I could do a video series because NaNoWriMo's coming in November, and I am starting my outlining process now. And I thought I'd do Wednesday, do the introduction video to it, where I talk about why I use tarot, talk about a little bit out of it, maybe show my writer's Bible where I have kind of my setup for that, and then go through different parts of how I outline using the tarot characters, setting, actual outlining and plotting the acts and stuff, because I use the hero's journey and the 3-act structure to do my outlining. So I thought that might be of interest because people have expressed questions and an interest in that. So I thought that might be a good series to do for YouTube. They won't be super long videos. You would find that very interesting. I think there's been a lot of people asking about it, about how I use it, and I think it would make for a good series. I've done some videos about it before, but I've never went into really any depth, and like I've done some in depth in detail, but not for like the whole process. Because I use the cards to pull the character information, like their goal, their motivation, and their conflicts. I do that. I also pull archetype cards to help with the different characters. I use oracle cards to help with theme, and I use tarot cards to kind of help, with a lot of it too. I've only been doing this for a few years. So when I do videos like that, whether it's art and journaling or the writing, when I do a series where I talk about, I'm one of those people that I learn via writing, reading, talking about. I'm a see it, that helps me. And so I'll be doing the video series as much for y'all as I will be for me, because it might help narrow down some of my outlining, plotting, some of the things that I'm still kind of working on when it comes to outlining, plotting, because I am a former pantser, so it will help me, and I'm already going to be doing it because I want to get the outline done before NaNoWriMo starts. Hi, I'm glad you made it live too. So I can do some of that. I can take my book and my cards and put them in my backpack. So even if the hurricane does hit, I can still do some outlining. I won't be able to film, but I can film the actual setup and talk about it afterwards. If, like I said, the hurricane does hit and, we're without power. Hopefully if it does hit, we won't be without power for more than a few days or a week. But like I said, when Hugo hit almost 30 years ago, we were out of power. We were without power for like 3 weeks. So just a heads up, if it hits out here and it hits that hard, if I'm not on anywhere, then you know why, because it could very well mess up the cell phone towers. It could do, there's no way of knowing right now. But I have plenty of things to keep me occupied if for some reason, it does hit like that out here and we don't have power for a week to 3 weeks or whatever. But I do have a couple of series in mind, one series for YouTube and one series for Patreon. I'm going to start getting more in depth in my learning watercolor stuff on Patreon. And then I want to do the writing thing, how I plot using tarot and stuff on YouTube. Um, I find that when you can do something that interests you, when you're making videos about something that you're really interested in, it's a much more fun process. It makes it much more interesting. And he'd like to make some videos again. Yeah, I love using tarot in the hero's journey. I'm a much more character-driven writer, but I found that if I don't do any plot, like actual, I'm not plot driven, but I need to have some of the plot stuff done. And the hero's journey makes it much easier for me to plot, and using tarot makes it very fun and imaginative for me to do. So that's one of the things. Yeah. So does anybody have any other questions or anything like that? Because I we're I'm gonna make the rest of my list, and then I'm going to head to the store, and I might video some of the stuff in the store. I might keep a log of the of how things are. Um, yeah, I need a plan. Um, have I changed my morning routine a bit? I've been working on it. Um, I've been working on it. We have a lot of stuff going on right now with Victor having just started school back, and I've been getting up earlier in the morning and trying to go to bed earlier at night. I was getting up on my own before, because I'm more of a night person than a morning person. So when you stay up till 2 or 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, you end up sleeping till 10 or 11. Hello. And that wasn't working, because I found that when I get up early in the morning, I have more time to do things and I get more done. When I sleep in, I don't have as much time, because Victor's getting out of school, and then I have only so much time. If I sleep in till 10 or 11 in the morning, they only have a few hours before I have to get him. That doesn't give me enough time unless I've stayed up super late getting things done the night before. And that leaves me really tired when I get him. So I'm trying to go to bed earlier and get so that I can get up earlier, so that I have more actual time to get things done. Um, I do find myself, as much as I am a night owl, I do find myself being more productive either really late at night or really early in the morning. Hello. That's when I'm the most productive. So I could go to sleep at, say, 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening, which I have done before, and then get up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, get a bunch done, take a nap for like an hour, and then get up and do some more stuff. And that works really well for me. Or I go to bed at like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. I get a bunch done. I get up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and then I sleep until like noon. And then I don't get as much done. And then I'm struggling because I have to wait till it's nighttime again to get the things done, till it's, and then that, I mean, the it doesn't work very well. So I'm trying my hardest to get back to like what the kind of schedule I had when I worked outside of the home, where I go to bed by 11:30, 12 o'clock, and then I'm up by between 6:30 and 7:30. And by usually, if I'm up by 6:30, 7 o'clock, then by 7:30, 8 o'clock, I'm doing everything else. I do my morning stuff, and then I'm doing everything else. Today has been an off day because I got up, and then we had all of this hurricane stuff, and we've been kind of getting things. I had to talk to my mom, and we've been trying to get some of that stuff done. I made my list. You can, the morning pages, I don't do structured. I'm a rebel. If you were to take that personality thing that one lady has, is it Gretchen Rubin, or is it the other lady? The one lady, she's the thing. You have the different. I'm a questioner and I'm a rebel. I don't like rules. I need some structure, but I'm a spontaneous, impulsive, very free-spirited, creative kind of person. You stayed up last night to catch up on Castle Rock. Scary. I haven't watched Castle Rock yet. I will be watching it. Yeah. I love Castle Rock, but I haven't seen the one from last night. So I need some structure, but I still need the freedom to kind of do as I, you know. So when I do morning pages, sometimes it's morning pages, sometimes it's evening pages. I wish I had some tips for filming videos, Heather. I don't. What I was talking about this for Patreon for their video. When I film, because when I first started doing this, I didn't even know about an editing software. I didn't know anything about editing software. I didn't know how to use it. I didn't know anything about it. And then I started using Movie Maker. So I didn't know how to film videos. Like I've kind of picked up with stuff long and along. Like if you are filming a video where you're talking and you make a mistake, you can do this and the audio will pick up and it'll know to either stop there and you know that there's something to edit. Yeah, you stack books to film, no edits, old school. Yeah. And I had a webcam, a really cheap webcam. I stuck on my monitor and it took me 10 takes to do a video. When I very first started doing the videos for NaNoWriMo, it would take me 10 times to get a video right where, and then finally the best one out of however many it took me to do, that's the one that I put up. I didn't edit at all. I still don't know how to do all this fancy stuff with editing. I think the best piece of advice, though, I can't give you about editing. I can only give you about getting comfortable, is to take the camera, if you have a camera or your phone or whatever, and practice. I mean, you can delete the videos that you make, but practice talking into the camera, getting comfortable with the camera. When you're looking at that lens, like my webcam's sitting on top of my monitor right now. And instead of looking at my webcam, which I probably should be doing, I actually look at when I do these live chats, when I do these, I look at the little bubbles for the live chat that have the faces. And I just imagine that instead of it being a live chat like that, there's a row of you and we're all kind of sitting at this table and I'm just talking to you. When I do videos for coffee chats or chatty videos where I'm talking, the webcam, instead of looking at the webcam and seeing the webcam, I picture the webcam, but I picture it as somebody. I pretend that it's somebody, one of you, and I'm just talking to you. Excuse me. I can tell I didn't take my allergy pill today. A lot of times that's what I do. I just imagine that one of you is sitting across from me with a cup of coffee. And that's why I do a lot of the coffee chats where I say, if we were having coffee, and why so much of when I'm doing these videos, I have coffee is because it's easier and more comfortable for me, because I'm more of a behind the camera person. I don't actually like being in front of the camera. For one, the camera puts 10 pounds at least on you, and I have what's called a little chin. So no matter whether I have a double chin or not, it makes me look like I have a double chin. And I don't like being, I'm self-conscious. I think I'm self-conscious about being in front of the camera. I spent all those years when I was skinny thinking I was fat, which was a waste of, but thank you. I think, I'm older. A lot of the people that you see on YouTube are in their teens and 20s. Some of them are in their 30s. I'm 51, and I haven't had plastic surgery. I haven't had any of that. I have a much, like, I am using Bare Minerals face stuff or Clinique stuff. I don't use any, like, I use Pond's face cleaner and Pond's moisturizer, or I use Aveeno. You just turned 48. Thank you. I don't use anything fancy. I do my own nails, and you can tell. I can't keep them super long. Hello, I can't keep my nails super long because otherwise I can't write on the typewriter. Like, I used to get my nails done. I don't get my nails done anymore. Hello. Thank you. I used to get them done, but one, they mess up your nails. That all that constant stuff they do, it messes up your actual nail bed, and I don't do them anymore. And two, whenever I'm writing, I have an ergonomic keyboard, which helps, but it's hard for me to write, and I type like 70 words a minute. Well, if I've got nails, you can forget it. I'm not going to type 70 words a minute. And when I will do, thank you, when I do wear my contact lenses, it's hard to get your contact lenses in and out of your eye when you have like really long nails, or especially if they're artificial nails. That was my kneecap. Oh, and I didn't cuss. I did good. But I really wanted to cuss. Your sister gave you some Rodan Fields. Helped your, yeah. When I started taking biotin, it is really helped my hair and my skin. Has not helped my nails really at all. Biotin has really helped my hair and my skin, though. I didn't have acne as a teenager. I had one bump like once a month, that one bump. But I didn't have acne. I didn't get scarring acne until I got my 30s. Hormones. And then when I had my hysterectomy, I pretty much quit getting acne. But I still had rosacea really bad. And I've noticed that since I started taking biotin, it's actually better. But biotin is supposed to help your nails. Has not helped my nails. It's helped my hair and my skin, but it has not helped my nails. So I don't know. I've got the gel polish stuff, the one that you can do where you buy the number 1 step and the number 2 step. But I wash dishes by hand because we don't have a dishwasher. And no matter what I use, it still peels. So as soon as I wash some dishes, and I don't have gloves, I don't like the way gloves feel. I like to feel my dishes. I like to make sure that they're clean, and I touch. And I've tried using gloves to wash my dishes, and it just doesn't work. So I've got Palmolive, and the Palmolive hopefully will help. I switched to, but I mean, since puberty hit, you're 31, ain't gone yet. Well, hormones. It's hormones is the problem, unfortunately, especially if you're in your 30s and you still have acne. It's hormones. You can take some natural vitamins like black gouache, and that will help get your help level out some of your hormones. It will help. There are also some other vitamins you can check into, natural vitamins, natural remedies to help with hormonal imbalances in women. And that will help. They're soaking in it. Yeah. So I don't know, I just started using some cuticle oil on So hopefully that will maybe help my nails, because I like for them to be a little bit long, and I have such big fingers, big hands, long fingers, that I think they look better with some nails. But no soy for you. I don't like soy stuff. David is lactose intolerant, and he'll drink almond milk, he'll drink Lactaid, he'll drink cashew milk, coconut milk even, but soy milk, meh. I don't like soy stuff either. And I've tasted, like, I like cashew milk better than almond milk. I like Lactaid better than either one of those. But I'm not lactose intolerant. I drink milk, real milk, cow's milk. When we have the extra money, I do buy organic. Because most of the time it's just me or Victor drinking milk. Breast cancer survivors. Yeah. I've got to go get a mammogram. I've got to call and make an appointment once all this hurricane stuff is over. I've got to call and make an appointment. I like cashew butter too, like peanut butter, like almond butter and cashew butter. I like cashews better. I love almonds though, which is really funny because I love almonds, but I don't like the taste of almond milk. But I don't mind the taste of cashew milk. So it's time for me to make an appointment and go get another mammogram. It's that time of year again. I should have already done it, but it's just, I was trying to finalize everything with the probate court stuff, and that's almost all over, thank goodness. And now it's time for me to start, like, I've got to go back to the dentist. I've got to go to the eye doctor. I need to go get a mammogram. All of that I was supposed to start making all of those appointments right at my birthday. So I'm running a little bit late because, that was in July. So I should have started making the calls in July and August for some of this stuff. But if the weather's not real bad, I do have a dentist appointment tomorrow. So I've already gotten that one. So if I can get to that one, we don't have too bad of storms and they're not closed. They haven't already started evacuating places. I can go get my teeth cleaned tomorrow. And then hopefully, if everything goes okay and everything's not shut down, and, I'll call and make the mammogram. But otherwise, I'll be doing that as soon as we have power back, depending on what the hurricane does. But I do need to do that. But that was one of the reasons why I chose to participate in Self-Love September, is so that I could do more of, to me, self-love and self-care go hand in hand. And a lot of the things that I put off for either lack of time or lack of money or whatever, September gives me a chance to kind of pace some things and do some things for myself. We've got, I was going to call and do the eye doctor thing and finally go and get myself some new damn glasses. But now we've got the hurricane. So, like I said, as soon as all of this is over, that's on my to-do list I need to get stuff done for me, is the eye doctor and the mammogram. Because I've already got the dentist appointment. Unless it gets canceled. So, we have to do better about taking care of our own selves. Cancer runs really rampant in one side of my family, so I have to stay on top of that. And I had cervical cancer when I was in my 20s. And I had the same kind my aunt had, where it's the kind that's not just to your female parts. It's the kind that actually gets into your bones and stuff. There's more than one kind of that kind of cancer. And I got really lucky and caught it in time, and I have not had any problems. And now I have had a hysterectomy. But I still have my ovaries, so I do have to go and do all that stuff that, we don't think about. But men also need to have men also need to be checked, because believe it or not, it's not just women who get breast cancer. You just did the eye doctor. Hubby got his glasses. You need yours. Yeah, my husband has better than perfect vision. He has his is 2015 or something. So I got really lucky though. When I had my hysterectomy, I had a really good doctor. And I don't have my womb and I don't have my tubes, but I kept my ovaries, because if you don't have your ovaries, you have to take hormone treatments. But he did do a check to make sure everything was okay, because if they hadn't been, he would have gone ahead and removed them. But I had had fibroid cysts. Oh yeah, my mom loved the doctor. So did my husband. He actually was just amazing and a sweetheart. He had daughters and a wife, and he was really had a great bedside manner. He was very gentle. He talked to you. The only problem was that one time he was like, well, this is just going to sting a little. And that was a lie. It hurt like a son of a gun. But I was really, really happy with the doctor. He was a really good doctor. And anytime you have a major surgery like that, it makes you worry. But, so I was lucky though, when they removed all the cystic fibroids. They ranged from the size of a golf ball up to the size of a small grapefruit. And I had a lot of them. And luckily, none of them were cancerous. But I think one of them was right at a 1. Like, it just died of breast cancer. And people don't talk about it enough. Males get breast cancer too. Males do get breast cancer too. We are, we talk about men getting prostate cancer, but people don't talk much about breast cancer, and they can get it. We need to be much more aware. Heart disease, diabetes. I told my husband, so we got to quit eating so much processed food. We weren't eating very much of it at all. And the better healthier he's been, the more he wants to eat processed food again and all this stuff, because we had done away with a lot of that stuff because of Crohn's disease, because of him. And now he's like, no, but I want, and I'm like, good. I'm glad. I really want to start running, but I'm gonna start with I'm doing the walking and the bicycling right now, and I want to start swimming. High blood pressure and strokes. I have that too. That's in my real daddy's family: high blood pressure, strokes, and heart attacks. And then in my mom's family, it's diabetes and cancer. Yeah, diabetes and cancer in my mom's family. And it's heart attack, high blood pressure, strokes, and diabetes in the other side. So I'm trying to be pretty careful. I drink a lot of juice. Bad leg pain. See, I have bad ankles, and I love to walk and ride a bicycle. I would love to be a runner, but I've tried running and it hurts my ankles like the dog. I like walking fast. I can do the fast walking. So, but I'm going to go. I'm going to give it a few minutes, answer any questions that anybody might have. I have to go to the store and go get water and bread and some extra candles and some more canned goods for just in case, and some more charcoal, so we can get prepared for the hurricane. And I have instant coffee. Not that I like instant coffee, but I do have instant coffee. I have coffee that come in the little bags, like tea bags, like you do hot tea. Well, I have coffee that I can make like with hot tea. And we have a propane grill that has a little stove thing on it. I don't have a time, but I have been trying to do Monday musings, the coffee chats. I've been trying to do those live more often. But usually if I can get them, it's usually sometime around this time that I do them. You have to work on a project, so just as well get prepared. Yes. Yes. I'm going to go get prepared. I'm going to try not to blow away, and hopefully no houses will land on me. I have on my red shoes though, so I should be okay. But I'm kind of feeling my anxiety is kind of, so this is thinking about preparing and getting prepared and then packing my stuff and making sure that, you know, I can stay busy and creative, even if this does happen, will be a good thing. But it did make me think about what am I going to take? You know, if I have to leave the house, I'm okay. You know, if we don't have power, it'll be okay. But if I have to leave the house, and if it does happen and we are without power for 2 or 3 weeks at one time, you know, um, yeah. So we'll see, you know. But I will talk to y'all later. Y'all take care. And for those of you who are in this path, y'all be safe too. And for those of you who are out there in other areas of our world that are having natural disasters and other kind to you, like all these fires and everything that's going on. And not to mention that there are people who live out in earthquake zones and all kinds of craziness. Y'all take care too. Everybody just take care. Be safe. And I will talk to y'all again soon. And hopefully, and like I said, you can look for updates if I can do them on the Journey with Burgess Facebook group or on Twitter or something, Instagram, something. I will try to post somewhere that I'm okay and everything if it does hit. Bye, y'all.